One is a tsundere young master, skilled at playing instruments. One is a genius youth with a clear and bright voice. They often practiced singing together, but never fulfilled their eternal promise. Later, they reunited in university. Could they recognize each other and continue their musical dream? Li Qingji ran frantically, breathing heavily. Finally, he reached the music classroom door. He quickly explained that he was suddenly called to help prepare dinner. That's why he was late. Yanhui told him to lower his voice and asked if he still wanted to practice. He admitted it was his fault and asked the other not to be angry. Then with a pitiful face, he said he really wanted to practice. Seeing him like this, Yanhui still felt sympathetic, sighed, and told him to come quickly, saying his time was precious. Li Qingji immediately responded happily. Whenever singing was mentioned, he would become very enthusiastic. Yanhui flipped through the sheet music, deciding to review previously taught songs, then suddenly leaned in to smell him, feeling there was a strange odor. Li Qingji thought it must be the smell from his work. He moved his body away a bit. He wanted to know if it really smelled that bad. Yanhui realized he had just said something hurtful, so he asked Li Qingji to sit closer, saying how could he read the music from so far away. Practice began. Yanhui's piano flowed like a spring. The notes were smooth and mellow. Li Qingji's voice was clear and bright. This scene was as beautiful and ethereal as bubbles. After practice, Yanhui said it was not bad. All the previous issues had been corrected. Then lightly tapped Li Qingji's head with the sheet music, telling him to work hard because it was still far from enough. Also, he must not be late next time. They pinky promised to always sing together in the future. However, they didn't know then that forever was just a naive proof. Now Li Qingji was awakened by the doorbell. It was an express delivery that needed his signature. He got up, stretched, and prepared to sign for it. These were packages from home, along with a card. It congratulated him on his enrollment, signed by Shi Rue. Li Qingji noticed that all the closed tags were cut off, though they looked new. He didn't expect these books were still kept. While reminiscing, a classical piano album fell out. He picked it up, thinking it had been thrown away long ago, because for him, music was something he had completely abandoned. Li Qingji walked on campus, discovering it was club recruitment day. A male student noticed him, quickly called out to him, even saying his name. This person was Lin Qin, who used to live next door when they were young. They exchanged greetings, and upon learning he got into law school, the other praised him for being a top student. At this moment, a girl suddenly appeared. She was so-and-so, a second-year art student. She was also Lin Qin's girlfriend. Li Qingji looked helpless. He could only congratulate Lin Qin as he introduced him to his girlfriend, but unexpectedly, so-and-so took an interest in him. Asked if he was interested in joining the art club, saying it would surely attract many female members. Before Li Qingji could answer, someone bumped into him. His books scattered on the ground. Just as he was about to pick up his notebook, a foot stepped on it. There stood a handsome guy with black hair, angrily talking on the phone. He went forward and grabbed the person. The other turned his head impatiently. Li Qingji told him he should apologize for bumping into someone. Everyone around was watching them. The black-haired handsome guy pushed Li Qingji's hand away, asked if he was trying to lecture him. He didn't know how to respond for a moment. However, the person on the phone started rushing again, and the black-haired guy exploded in anger, saying he was almost there. After hanging up, he grabbed Li Qingji's collar and stated he had no time to waste here, and if he didn't want to get beaten up, he should get lost. The other silently clenched his fist in response. Lin Qin suddenly intervened, telling the black-haired guy not to mind him, saying they wouldn't delay him anymore. He sighed, thinking to let it go. He gave them the middle finger, saying next time wouldn't be so simple if he ran into them again. Li Qingji watched him leave with an annoyed expression. So-and-so felt angry, asking if it was really okay to let him go like that. Lin Qin thought such people looked troublesome, better to avoid unnecessary problems. Then he took out a poster, saying there was some kind of live show at the gymnasium. The important part was the first 100 audience members would receive meal vouchers. Li Qingji didn't think it was anything special, just cafeteria meal vouchers. But Lin Qin and others explained that the cafeteria's autumn limited menu was legendary food, a mythical set meal that would sell out instantly once available. So they forcibly dragged him along, saying it was a heaven-sent opportunity. They arrived at the bustling gymnasium. Li Qingji thought some might be real fans, as they were dressed up impressively. At that moment, a sound came from the stage. His attention was drawn there. The vocalist asked if they were ready to have fun together. The fans in the audience got excited, and Black Joker made their dazzling appearance. The group consisted of 4 members. Lee Chingji discovered the guitarist was that black-haired, handsome guy. As the music started, the vocalist Queen took a deep breath, then began singing with heart-wrenching intensity. Lee Chingji was shocked by this music. The singing was absolutely terrible. His heart felt uncomfortable. He just wanted to find an exit quickly. On stage, the vocalist signaled that it was time for the guitarist solo. The guitarist played with radiant enthusiasm. Lee Chingji, who was about to leave, was shocked again. He turned his head in disbelief to look. He didn't understand why. At this moment, he thought of his childhood playmate. At the cafeteria, after Lin Chin and others took a bite of the limited menu, they felt it was supremely delicious. They thought it was worth having their ears tortured, though the band style was quite unexpected. Although Lee Chingji didn't want to admit it, that guitarist was really skilled. While others' rhythms were chaotic, this person's guitar sound remained steady and smooth. He realized he still unconsciously noticed such things. After eating, the 3 parted ways. Lin Chi hadn't expected to meet Lee Chingji at university. His girlfriend asked about this neighbor's background, noting how he was not only handsome, but wore expensive brands. He replied that he hadn't recognized him at first either, as he seemed like a completely different person now. They first met on a warm, mild afternoon. Lin Chin was holding a ball, looking towards a corner. He saw Lee Chingji with a gloomy face. He immediately enthusiastically invited him to play, but was refused, because he couldn't go anywhere else freely, saying he'd be abandoned if he wasn't good. Just as he was about to ask what that meant, a little boy suddenly appeared and interrupted them. He had come to call Lee Chingji home. And now Lee Chingji was waiting for the red light. His phone rang. He answered, saying he had received the clothes. At that moment, he saw a small dog in the middle of the road. He immediately ran over, not noticing a bicycle approaching him. The elderly man couldn't stop the bike and warned him to move away. However, it was too late. They collided, and everything went flying. At the hospital, Lee Chingji was on the phone reporting the situation. He was fine, but the old man seemed to have broken some bones. The elder said he hadn't expected a young person to suddenly rush out, and he had fallen into the flower bed trying to avoid him. This made him think that this old man was, in a way, really impressive. The elderly man tried to stand up, but suddenly hurt his back. He asked Lee Chingji which school he attended. Upon hearing it was Fairy Tale University, he mentioned that he taught music appreciation there, and he was Professor Xiao. Lee Chingji apologized again, saying it was all because he suddenly rushed out, causing this accident. Professor Xiao said it was okay, knowing he was trying to save the dog and didn't mean it. Though that was said, he still felt an undeniable responsibility for the other's condition. At that moment, the vocalist burst in crying, throwing himself onto the hospital bed, saying how could they manage without their bassist. Only then did Lee Chingji realize, could this old man be that bassist? At this moment, Yanhui walked in while talking. He noticed someone standing in the hospital room. Their eyes met. Lee Chingji felt he had gotten himself in a huge trouble. Yanhui impatiently asked why it was him again. He broke into a cold sweat, about to explain, but was interrupted by a commotion from the hospital bed. Yanhui asked Professor Xiao like a demon what would happen to the band's performance with him in this state. He told him to calm down, saying he actually had a solution. Then he thought of an idea, letting Lee Chingji play bass in his place. But he knew nothing about instruments. Professor Xiao told him bass was simple, and besides, he was directly responsible for his condition. Yanhui immediately turned and asked if he was the one responsible for the accident. Watching the scene, he felt things were going badly. The next second, he was pinned against the wall. Yanhui felt it was such an unfortunate encounter, bringing up what he had said before. Before he could finish, a nurse walked in, warning them that noise and roughhousing were forbidden in the ward. After a while, Yanhui believed it was impossible to let an amateur join their band. But Professor Xiao and the vocalist both pointed out they were also amateurs at first. Lee Chingji thought to himself, no wonder the band was so terrible. The vocalist mentioned it was already hard to recruit people, and they had a competition in 2 months. Then Yanhui pointed at Lee Chingji, telling him to watch his hands. He tapped out a rhythm on the table, asking him to repeat it. The vocalist realized this was a rhythm test. Seems Yanhui had compromised. Though the rhythm seemed simple, it contained a hidden trap. Amateurs usually couldn't notice it. He was clearly making things difficult. Lee Chingji raised his hands, having already heard the trap. He clapped his hands lightly to produce the rhythm. The vocalist was shocked that he reproduced it so naturally. Yanhui smiled slightly, telling him tomorrow at 3:30 p.m., Building A4, 7th floor. He'd be dead if he was late. However, he hadn't yet processed what was happening. The next day, as the appointed time approached, Lee Chingji didn't know what to do. He He recalled Yin Hui saying if he dared not show up, the dog he saved would end up in a hot pot. If he didn't go, someone like that might actually do such a thing. At that moment, Lin Qing and others called his name from behind. They grabbed his backpack, asking if he wanted to go to the dessert shop near school. Their strawberry pancakes were famous. Li Qingji scratched his head, saying he had something to do, and asked if they knew where the 7th floor of Building A4 was. The two held hands in fear because Building A4 had always only had 6 floors. Li Qingji arrived at Building A4 and found it indeed only had 6 floors, and the 6th floor appeared to be abandoned. Could this be some scary game they planned to teach him a lesson? He found stairs here, but they looked old and unusable. Suddenly, a dark shadow darted out, startling Li Qingji. But he realized it was the puppy he had rescued, and it seemed to be living quite well. He mused that the puppy must have found an extraordinary owner. Yanhui walked over, asking what he was doing here. He had said to arrive at 3 o'clock, and being 3 minutes late still counted as late. He hated latecomers the most. Li Qingji thought to himself, what kind of young master was this guy? Since it was his first time, Yanhui decided not to make an issue of it, telling him to follow along. Looking at everything before him, he never imagined that on top of this old building, there would be such a place. The air was filled with a slightly tart orange scent, and there were huge whales flying around. Yanhui asked him how it was pretty nice, right? He thought this place was absolutely dreamlike. The two arrived at the secret base. The vocalist immediately came forward to welcome them. Li Qingji thought they had arrived quite early. The other told him, once he witnessed someone's temper, he wouldn't want to be late either. Yanhui cleared his throat nearby, offering to introduce everyone. The vocalist was called Xiao Tan, codename Queen, 2nd year veterinary medicine major. The drummer was Xiao Xia, senior sister codename Ace of Hearts, 4th year art major. She really hates guys. Along with Yin Hui and Professor Xiao, they formed the band called Black Joker. Li Qingji couldn't believe that old man was actually in a band. Yin Hui told him he was responsible for the guitar part, and he would replace the teacher as bassist Jack. Yin Hui stated that for the competition in 2 months, they must rehearse their prepared songs well before then. Li Qingji asked if it was an important competition. Xiao Tan replied, of course, it's this year's hottest competition. Whether bands, idols, solo singers, or dancers could all participate. Many major talent agencies would be there scouting. The prize money was as high as 600,000. It was truly a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity. Yin Hui clenched his hand, but at this crucial moment, they had a problem with their bassist. He took out some books and slammed them on the table, telling Li Qingji to read these books as quickly as possible and learn bass as fast as he could. He pulled out a USB drive containing their competition songs. He asked Li Qingji if he would definitely do well, but the other asked if there were any techniques for playing bass. Hearing the word techniques, Yin Hui immediately turned around, saying even a 60-year-old could learn it. What techniques did he need? Just play hard, and that's it. These words left Li Qing stunned. Xiao Tan quickly pulled him aside, telling him Yin Hui never teaches anyone. He wondered if he could really do it. He hadn't touched anything music-related for a long time. That day, the three came to a noodle shop. Someone asked Li Qingji why he wasn't eating. He said after listening to the band songs for a week straight, he felt completely detached. He thought it was because of the live performance, but after hearing the recordings, their band's music was simply mental pollution. Lin Qing advised Li Qingji not to get involved with those band people. That Yin Hui comes from a wealthy family, but likes fighting, drinking, and chasing girls. A complete playboy. Xiao Tan's reputation wasn't good either. People saw him entangled with dangerous characters. And senior Xia rarely attended classes and was called the ghost girl. They all agreed these people were just daydreaming. While neglecting their duties, it's better not to associate with them. Li Qingji was also wondering what he was doing now. That day during practice, Yin Hui held his head in frustration. Just these few measures, how many mistakes had he made? He asked if Li Qingji's brain was full of snot. Xiaotan told him not to rush. Qingji was trying his best, but he couldn't help asking if this was really trying. He grabbed his hand, showing there weren't even any calluses. Anyone who practiced hard wouldn't be like this. Therefore, Yin Hui felt Li Qingji wasn't practicing seriously at all. Or was he looking down on them? He couldn't take it anymore and shouted, "So what?" He believed time shouldn't be wasted on hopeless things. He bluntly said their music was terrible. Yin Hui couldn't believe what he just heard. Li Qingji found their music harsh. He thought such awful work could never win a competition. Yin Hui angrily slammed the table, telling him not to speak so condescendingly, acting like he knew music so well. He was just like those others, a machine without dreams. Li Qingji retorted, "What's wrong with having no dreams? What right did he have to demand others work for his unrealistic dreams?" Yan Hui couldn't believe he would say that about him. He told him not to come anymore. They didn't need someone like him here. Li Qingji turned and left decisively. Just as Qiao Tan was about to mediate, the door closed. He scratched his face, saying this was troublesome. Where would they find a bassist now? Yan Hui said even a random amateur from the street would be better than this half-baked novice. Just an idiot who can't even play bass, yet dare to speak nonsense. Just then, a phone on the table suddenly rang. Yan Hui picked it up and found it was Li Qingji's. At that moment, Li Qingji was sitting on a bench drinking coffee. He thought this meant he had nothing to do with him anymore. Two children suddenly ran past him, happily discussing their collaboration. Watching them leave, Li Qingji remembered his childhood, when his good friend handed him the composed song. He took it and immediately started singing. The memory ends. He suddenly woke up. He never wanted to touch music again. He believed what he was doing must be right. At this moment, Li Qingji realized Arui hadn't contacted him. After checking his pocket, he found his phone was missing. He realized he had left it in the practice room, but he didn't want to go there now, so he decided to sneak in early tomorrow to get it. It started raining heavily outside. A group of people burst into the secret base. The leader declared they would kill that kid this time. His followers agreed, saying Yan Hui was asking for death by stealing Brother Feng's woman. Chen Feng threw the instruments on the ground. Deciding to leave a little gift before that kid returns, he ordered his brothers to trash the place. Meanwhile, Yan Hui and Li Qingji met downstairs. They stared at each other. Neither knew what to say. Li Qingji hadn't expected to meet the person he least wanted to see. He told him not to misunderstand. He seemed to have left his phone in the practice room. Could he go get it? However, Yan Hui just stared at him silently. He didn't know what was wrong with him. After a while, Yan Hui slowly told him to follow. This made him very confused. Walking behind, he felt something was off about this person. Yan Hui remembered that when he got Li Qingji's phone, he found it had no password. Qiao Tan warned him that looking at others' privacy was a crime. He ignored it and browsed through the gallery, finding only landscape photos. Just as he was getting bored, he came across a photo. This shocked him greatly, because the person in the photo was his childhood singing partner. Li Qingji suspected there must be some plot. Just as he was about to ask about the photo in the phone, a voice interrupted them. They both looked toward the sound, finding the secret base in complete chaos. Chen Feng said since Yan Hui broke his arm last time, he'd been thinking every day about how to repay him. It was time to settle their score. Li Qingji was shocked, knowing nothing good would come from being with him. But Yan Hui couldn't recognize which uncle this was. Chen Feng angrily told him his name, emphasizing he was only 22. His followers said he stole Brother Feng's woman and put him in the hospital, yet was still playing dumb. He scratched his head, saying sorry. He'd beaten up too many trash to remember them all. He questioned if they thought they could get revenge with just these few people. This scared them, but Chen Feng knew he was good at fighting, so he had a backup plan. He ordered his men to bring someone up. Li Qingji saw it was the girl drummer. Chen Feng thought she was Yan Hui's girl, commenting on his unique taste. He asked what they wanted. They told him to kneel down and let them beat him up. Once they felt better, they'd release the girl. Yan Hui finally let them beat him according to their wishes. Chen Feng didn't expect he would go this far for this girl. But how long could he endure? Li Qingji didn't understand why he wasn't fighting back. Wasn't he usually so arrogant? Senior Xia suddenly broke free and ran away. The followers prepared to chase her back. Chen Feng thought she was useless now. Let her go. Then he stepped on Yan Hui's fingers. He trembled in pain, but didn't make a sound. Chen Feng asked if he could still play guitar if his fingers were crushed. Li Qingji suddenly spoke up, telling them not to go too far, or they would regret it sooner or later. Chen Feng sneered, warning him to stay quiet if he didn't want to get beaten. He said although he hated Yan Hui, their behavior was even more disgusting. They thought he was an ignorant brat and decided to teach him a lesson. He closed his eyes, preparing to be hit. The expected pain didn't come. Li Qingji opened his eyes to find someone standing in front of him. Chen Feng was stunned too, not expecting things to turn out this way. Yan Hui, with blood dripping from his forehead, gritted his teeth, saying don't touch him. The next second he collapsed straight down. Li Qingji didn't understand. He was such a hateful person. Why did he take the hit for him? He stroked his head, getting blood on his hand. The people in front were discussing whether to retreat. His expression gradually turned sinister. Li Qingji remembered when the orphanage caught fire in his childhood. People outside wanted to save them, but found the door was locked. He could only hold another child, crying and shouting for help. A follower reminded Chen Feng. That kid seemed a bit off. Li Qingji touched Yan Hui's face, but mistook him for a Rui, saying he would protect him. After a while, Xiao Tan, who was doing field practice at the school farm, rushed back. When he saw the scene inside, he was startled. Chen Feng was sitting on the ground covering his wounds. Senior Xiao peeked secretly from the doorframe. It turned out Li Qingji had beaten them all up. Lin Qing and others rushed into the hospital room, asking about Li Qingji's condition, but found Chen Feng and his people inside. They quickly retreated, claiming they went to the wrong room. After a while, they finally found Li Qingji and asked where he was hurt. He said it was just some minor injuries and apologized for making them worry. Lin Qing said this incident had spread throughout the school. Chen Feng was known as a mad dog, but people only said the band had a conflict with some thugs. His name wasn't mentioned. After hearing this, Li Qingji seemed lost in thought. He said he suddenly remembered he had something to do. He found Yan Hui's hospital room, but saw Xiaotan talking with a girl at the door. He wondered who she was. She noticed him and quickly greeted, asking if he came to see Yan Hui. He didn't expect to be discovered, but slightly nodded in acknowledgement. Xiaotan saw his hesitant expression and told him the patient hadn't woken up yet, but the doctor said it wasn't serious. He took a look and felt things seemed really fine now. It turned out that girl was Chun Feng's ex-girlfriend. Yan Hui got involved in today's incident because he tried to help her back then. Xiao Tan thought although he had a sharp tongue and hot temper, he was actually a good kid. Li Qingji fell into deep thought. He had never tried to understand the real him. Xiao Tan asked how he became so good at fighting. He took out his phone, saying he had to go. He didn't plan to wait for Yan Hui to wake up because they would just argue when they meet. Watching him leave, Xiao Tan thought he was also a classmate with his own story. Li Qingji didn't expect to lose control today. He mistook Yan Hui for a Rui in that moment. He called a Rui, saying he was heading home. They chatted about their childhood. At this moment, someone approached from the opposite direction. She passed by this man. She stopped and looked back, feeling his strong presence. It was Mr. Yin. He arrived at the hospital room. The nurse told him his young master was out of danger now. Yan Hui was looking out the window. Hearing someone enter, he turned his head to check. But without a word, the person immediately slapped him. Mr. Yin angrily called him worthless, scolding him for being idle and unscholarly. Now he even started fights. How heartbroken his mother would be if she saw him like this. Hearing this, he clenched his fists. "Don't mention mother," he said. "You don't deserve to. If it weren't for you, how could mother have died?" Mr. Yin was shocked, never expecting his son would say such things. He emphasized finally that Mrs. Yan's death was an accident. Mr. Yin urged Yan Hui to think carefully. Without his money, what was he worth? He couldn't do anything now, could he? The nurse said the patient just had treatment and couldn't be discharged. Mr. Yin didn't stop him, shouting that if he left the hospital today, he would no longer consider him his son. Unexpectedly, he calmly replied that was exactly what he wanted. Li Qingji was playing guitar in the secret base. He felt something was still off. Even if it meant being called indecisive, he wanted to repay him for taking that hit. Suddenly, a voice startled him. Yan Hui told him he missed an 8-beat in the third section. Li Qingji was confused. Shouldn't he be in the hospital? And he was still wearing hospital clothes. He coldly replied that he had been discharged. The other clearly didn't believe it, thinking he was lying. Yan Hui leaned on the sofa and asked Li Qingji why he was here at this time. He lied, saying it was because he promised teacher Xiao, and he wasn't someone who broke promises. However, the other didn't mock him as expected. Instead, he came behind him, held his hands, and told him not to be so tense with his fingers and to watch each beat carefully. Li Qingji wondered if Yan Hui was subtly being nice to him. Actually, he looked good when being serious. He didn't seem so hateful anymore. The other noticed his gaze and thought he didn't understand something. He felt embarrassed, quickly turned his head back, and whispered a very quiet thank you. Yan Hui was shocked, not expecting him to say thanks. After practice, Li Qingji felt that although their relationship had improved, it was still awkward. Yan Hui suddenly called out to him, asking if he lived alone in a rented place off campus. He answered yes. Unexpectedly, the other then said he wanted to go to his place tonight. Back home, Li Qingji was feeding his dog. He wondered how things had turned out like this. At this moment, Yan Hui came out from taking a shower, telling him the body wash was almost empty. He turned to look. He was completely stunned by what he saw. How could this person walk around someone else's house without clothes? Yanhui thought it wasn't a big deal since they were both guys. He said he was hungry and asked if Li Qingji had anything to eat. He opened the fridge and found it was all vegetarian food. He stared at the green vegetables in silence, then suddenly slammed the fridge door shut. Li Qingji thought he hadn't found anything, so he took out his phone to order takeout. Soon, the table was filled with fried chicken and burgers. Yanhui took a bite, very satisfied. He really needed meat. He thought this was too boring, wondering if this was how Li Qingji always entertained friends. He saw the others staring blankly at him. He felt very embarrassed, realizing they probably weren't friends yet. His questions seemed presumptuous. Meanwhile, Li Qingji was wondering if this was what it was like to have friends over. He didn't know what to do. After thinking for a while, he suggested watching DVDs. The TV was showing emperor penguins in Antarctica. Yanhui felt somewhat bullied, while Li Qingji felt slightly happy. After a while, Yanhui found games on the TV cabinet and asked if he often played the versus mode with friends, saying it was fun. This reminded him that besides Arui, his only friend was from childhood. That day, Li Qingji finally found his friend and was planning to share apples given by his aunt. But the other knocked the apple from his hand and told him not to touch him. His friend watched him fall to the ground without helping him up. He told him to stop looking for him, that he never wanted to see him again, then with a cold look, told him to get lost. This made Li Qingji feel very hurt. Meanwhile, Yin Hui's game character got KO'd with one kick. He hadn't expected this guy to be so good. A ringtone sounded. Li Qingji asked him to wait while he went to take a call. He watched as the other walked away. He wondered what connection that photo had with him. Could it just be a coincidence? He felt frustrated and didn't want to think about it anymore. While Li Qingji was on the phone, Yin Hui reminded him to hurry up as he was waiting for the second round. The person on the other end of the line immediately declared their claim upon hearing this, saying they were the only one who truly loved him in this world. After playing games, they were ready to sleep. Yin Hui protested, asking why he, the sick one, had to sleep on the floor. Li Qingji assured him the heater was on, so he wouldn't be cold. He remembered that sleeping in the same room with someone else had only happened with Arui before. They had a good relationship, always holding hands. They had even made a promise to be together forever. Coming back from these memories, Li Qingji snapped back to reality. He initiated conversation, asking Yin Hui why he liked music. However, there was no response for a while. He thought the other had fallen asleep, but then heard him answer that it was because of his mother. Yin Hui's mother loved playing piano and was once an excellent pianist. But after marrying his father, she stopped performing. Later, his mother began teaching him piano. She would be very happy whenever he learned a new piece. Music allowed him to see his mother's gentle smile, which was what made him happiest. Later, music also led him to an unforgettable friendship. After hearing the story, Li Qingji was curious. With such a good background, how did he become like this? Was it teenage rebellion? Yin Hui told him to stop mocking him and asked if he still wanted to hear more. But he still thought the transformation from piano prince to band guitarist was quite dramatic. The other explained it was because his mother committed suicide. He was shocked by this reason. His mother couldn't bear his father's cold violence and confinement, and freed herself in a room full of tulips. Shortly after, Yin Hui's friend also died in an accident. From then on, his world shattered like flower petals. He asked if this seemed dramatic, saying he often thought that maybe he had used up all his lifetime's luck early on. He agreed with Li Qingji that he couldn't write songs anymore, but the other disagreed. Yin Hui didn't understand what he meant. Li Qingji explained that he never thought he lacked talent, but music needs something more important. Death is something everyone experiences. For those who have passed, what's needed is remembrance. The memories sleeping in our hearts are proof of their existence. Yin Hui was stunned by these words. Li Qingji believed that Yin Hui, immersed in grief and resentment, had forgotten the most important thing. He suggested trying to write his true feelings into a song. This made him start thinking about what he had really wanted to convey deep in his heart all this time. At the secret base, Chao Tan and others rushed over, asking why they suddenly needed to change the song. Li Qingji said it was a long story, then proceeded to explain the cause and process of everything. Yin Hui had been in the studio since morning and hadn't come out. Chao Tan was depressed. This was simply self-destructive. Time was already tight, and now they had to start over. Li Qingji was also wondering if they would make it in time, despite impulsively encouraging him to compose. Chao Tan expressed that before his star dream shattered, his only wish was to have a good meal. Li Qingji wanted to ask Senior Xia's opinion, but she immediately hid and told him not to come near. He felt communication was still as difficult as ever. It seemed all they could do now was believe in Yen Hui. He silently cheered for him in his heart. Soon after, a delicious meal was ready. Xiao Tan felt satisfied, saying this weather was perfect for hot pot. Li Qingji suggested calling Yen Hui to join them. The others thought it unnecessary, saying he wouldn't come out until the song was finished. However, before they could finish speaking, Yen Hui appeared. Xiao Tan quickly defended himself, saying he hadn't said anything bad about him. But it turned out he had rushed out to grab some meat. He started wolfing down the food with his bowl. Xiao Tan thought Yen Hui had given up and decided to use the original song. But then he slammed his bowl on the table. He took out his composition Sunset Glow and declared they would use this song for the competition. The other two hadn't expected him to actually complete it. Yen Hui suddenly called out to Li Qingji, telling him to listen carefully as this song was born because of him. Before finishing his meal, Yen Hui called everyone to gather. He took his guitar and walked aside. Xiao Tan asked Li Qingji if he thought the new song would work. He didn't answer, but thought to himself that a song written in just one day probably wouldn't be good enough. Yen Hui took a deep breath first. Then he started playing the guitar. The sound shocked all three of them. Xiao Tan hadn't expected the style to be completely different from their previous songs. Li Qingji thought that Black Joker's previous style was dark and chaotic. But this song was like a beam of light breaking through darkness, bright and full of powerful strength. It struck heavily at the heart, making people stand up and feel moved. Those notes began to take on a brilliant color. It awakened that deep emotion within, making Li Qingji exclaim in amazement. It truly was like sunset glow after darkness. Everyone listened intently to Yen Hui's performance. After the song, he was exhausted and covered in sweat. But Xiao Tan's expression wasn't quite right. He felt this song was too different from their style. He asked Senior Xia to help persuade them, but she maintained her no boys allowed attitude. Yen Hui ignored this and looked forward, then called out. Li Qingji seriously asked him what he thought. After a moment of surprise, he gave a thumbs up in approval. They decided to practice the new song, but Xiao Tan disagreed, thinking they would lose their original fans. Yen Hui emphasized again that they would use the new song. He handed out the printed sheet music to everyone, but he didn't notice Xiao Tan's dark expression behind him. At the dessert shop, someone sighed that they hadn't seen Aji in a long time. Lin Qing said it couldn't be helped, because he had been busy practicing with that delinquent band lately. As they spoke, they saw him, so they invited him to eat bagels together. After Li Qingji refused, he noticed they weren't happy, so he invited them to watch their practice. During practice, everyone was fully engaged. Li Qingji was no exception. Sweat flew off with his movements. During break time, he went to find Lin Qing. He felt their practice wasn't good enough yet, but they thought the band's style had improved nicely. Girls would definitely be crazy about them, but that guitar still looked scary. Li Qingji explained that although Yen Hui gives off a bad impression, when it comes to music, he's actually incredibly serious. At that moment, Yen Hui walked over to them, asking Li Qingji if he had time to chat since he had mastered the song. He also pointed out his recent mistakes. Lin Qing and the others felt their relationship seemed to have improved. Everything appeared to be developing well. After all, Aji looked very happy now. Yen Hui was listening to their new song. He thought that although Li Qingji was an amateur, through constant practice, he had barely managed to pass. He felt the key issue now was, since deciding on the new song, the gloomy lead singer walked over to Xiao Tan and asked him to step outside. He turned around confused after hearing this. A year ago, Xiao Tan bought lots of snacks for others, panting from exhaustion. After taking the snacks, they called him everyone's good puppy. The guy said he had paid the delivery fee. Xiao Tan was happy to do such things, even extending his hand like a dog raising its paw. Seeing no response, the guy asked if he didn't want to do business with them anymore. He immediately put his hand up after hearing this. He even imitated a dog's bark. Everyone burst into laughter. He thought to himself it was fine. As long as he could make money, everything was fine. Just then a box fell down. The people standing below hadn't noticed it at all. The next second, the box hit Xiao Tan's head, making his nose bleed. Others saw Yen Hui who threw the box and started blaming him. He scratched his head, thinking it was troublesome. He directly asked Xiao Tan for his transfer account, then transferred 7,000 yuan for medical treatment. Seeing this, the guy immediately put his arm around Yen Hui's shoulder, saying this amount wasn't enough. Just as he was about to name a price, he felt a hand on his face. Then his head received a violent hit. Yen Hui left coolly while companions hurriedly helped up the unconscious guy, telling him to hang in there. Xiao Tan thought this person must be the legendary rich kid. In his eyes, Yin Hui's head turned into gold coins. He found a paper that had fallen from the box under his feet. It read band recruiting lead singer, competition prize 600,000 yuan. Now Yin Hui asked Xiao Tan what was wrong lately, why he couldn't sing well. Had he been practicing, or was he short on money again? He admitted that the new song didn't suit his vocal range. Yin Hui told him not to blame everything on the song. Besides, when he first joined the band, didn't he say he could sing any song? Faced with this question, Xiao Tan remained silent. Yin Hui sighed and was about to give up. However, before he finished speaking, Xiao Tan said he could sing it well. He apologized for his selfish words and asked for more time, saying he could sing it well. Because Xiao Tan knew if he was abandoned, there would be no hope left. After practice, Li Qingji found everyone had left, not knowing where Yin Hui and Xiao Tan had gone. While cleaning up, he saw the vocalist's sheet music. After making sure the secret bass was empty, he felt safe to pick up the sheet music. He took a deep breath and started singing along with it. After a while, Li Qingji suddenly stopped. Realizing what he was doing, he decided to head home early. Outside the door, Xiao Tan heard everything and was shocked. That day, they got trapped in a cave. Li Qingji touched Yin Hui's forehead and found he had started running a fever. He asked about Xiao Tan's condition. Fortunately, he only had some scratches. He wondered how things had turned out like this. A day earlier, according to Senior Xia's fortune-telling, they needed to make a wish at Looming Temple before midnight tomorrow. Yin Hui didn't understand why they should sacrifice valuable practice time to make wishes. She explained that she had done 19 fortune-tellings for their competition results, all showing failure. These words startled Yin Hui. Senior Xia suggested there might be hope if they made wishes. Yin Hui thought it was nonsense and wouldn't believe it. But Xiao Tan suggested they should go, saying Senior Xia's predictions were terrifyingly accurate. That's why she was called the Ghost Girl. Once, a student who didn't believe her prediction fell from the 13th floor and died instantly. Finally, Yin Hui compromised, complaining about the strong wind in the mountains. Meanwhile, Xiao Tan kept staring at Li Qingji thoughtfully. Yin Hui found him acting strange lately, always doing this with an odd expression. Was there something wrong with Li Qingji? Not knowing how to say it, he lied that nothing was wrong. After walking for a while, Li Qingji spotted the Yin Hotel. He quietly asked Yin Hui if he hadn't cut ties with his family. Why book here? He admitted that their actual lodging was the dilapidated inn next door. The inn was called Manhwa Inn. Looking at the place, Li Qingji felt uneasy, but he still suggested they take a look inside. After entering, he asked if anyone was there. He thought the house was very dark, wondering if anyone really lived here, and the floorboards creaked with every step. Xiao Tan felt this place was uninhabitable and fearfully asked them to wait for him. Just then, a hand grabbed his clothes, which terrified him. He turned around asking who was grabbing him, only to see an old lady holding a lamp, asking where he was going. Xiao Tan screamed in fear, saying the ghost grandma had appeared and was going to take him away. Yin Hui and others heard his cry for help and looked back. The old lady thought he was rude, calling her a ghost just because the power was out. After a while, a table full of delicious food was prepared. Li Qingji savored the food and thought it was really good. Xiao Tan also said it was super delicious. The old lady explained that their inn used to be famous in this area, but later developers came for land acquisition, and everyone took the money and moved to the city. Only her family refused. Her husband was beaten because of this and died shortly after. Although she's alone now, she vowed to fight the Yin Corporation to the end. Li Qingji interrupted the old lady, asking how to get to Looming Temple. She said the temple had been demolished by developers to build a specialty restaurant. When Li Qingji and others arrived at Looming Temple, they found it was indeed in ruins. Xiao Tan dropped his backpack, not knowing what to do. Yin Hui thought this proved their decision to come was a mistake. Rather than believing in supernatural things, they should improve their skills to win. This made Xiao Tan feel like he was being directly criticized. Li Qingji suggested calling Senior first. She hadn't expected the temple to be demolished either. He said they were too late and asked what they should do now. Senior Xia asked if the deity statue was still in the ruins. Li Qingji asked what statue, and she replied it was a divine statue. That's what was truly spiritual. Xiao Tan couldn't find the statue in the ruins. He thought it might be dumped nearby and suggested splitting up to search. But Yin Hui shouted enough, saying this was nonsense from the beginning. How much more time would they waste on this? Xiao Tan clenched his fists hearing this. He believed in Senior Xiao's prophecy, saying finding the statue was their only chance to win. Li Qingji tried to persuade him, saying they didn't know the mountain well and should go back to make plans. But his expression turned impatient, and he shook off Li Qingji's hand. Xiao Tan felt they didn't understand his feelings. Even if there was just a glimmer of hope, he had to grasp it. If they wouldn't go, he'd search alone. Li Qingji worried about letting him go alone and decided to bring him back. Yin Hui scratched his head and sighed helplessly. It started raining, but they were still searching for Xiao Tan. Finally finding him, Li Qingji went over to warn him that the rain was getting heavier and the mountain was dangerous, asking him to return. But he forcefully pushed Li Qingji away, who slipped and fell backward. Xiao Tan hadn't expected this and looked very panicked. Yin Hui shouted his name. Though he managed to grab his hand, they both fell down the slope together. Yin Hui gently patted Li Qingji's face to wake him up. Seeing him finally awake, he quickly asked if he felt uncomfortable anywhere. He said he was fine, but wondered how they ended up here. Yin Hui replied that after falling, he brought him to this cave to shelter from the rain. He hadn't woken up until now, but it's good that he's finally awake. Just as he finished speaking, Yin Hui collapsed. Fortunately, Li Qingji caught him in time. He called out his name repeatedly, but got no response. At that moment, a figure appeared at the cave entrance. It was Xiao Tan. He had finally found them. Li Qingji asked him to come quickly, as Yin Hui had suddenly fainted. He said not to worry, he'd come check right away. Li Qingji then noticed the wound on Xiao Tan's leg. He said it was nothing, just a small injury from falling while coming down the slope. Yin Hui was probably exhausted. His previous injuries hadn't fully healed, and he got caught in the rain, yet he managed to hold on until now. Hearing this, Li Qingji felt mixed emotions, but he still wanted to know if this was really okay. Feeling worried, Xiao Tan mentioned that he had treated their class cow when it was sick. He took out his phone, but found there was no signal, and the rain showed no signs of stopping. They could only wait for the rain to stop before seeking help. Li Qingji covered Yin Hui with his clothes. That's all they could do. Xiao Tan glanced at them, then turned away, saying it was his fault. If he hadn't pushed Li Qingji, Yin Hui wouldn't have ended up like this trying to save him. He asked why the other insisted on finding the statue. Xiao Tan replied that he had heard him singing Xiaoguang during practice that day. This answer shocked Li Qingji. He barely noticed Yin Hui coughing twice in his arms. He said he didn't understand what that meant. After hearing Li Qingji singing, Xiao Tan realized how foolish he had been all along. As a child, he thought he was the most special kid. Growing up, he realized he was just ordinary, having to run endlessly to get what he wanted. However, in this world, there are people born with natural talent, something he could never reach no matter how hard he tried. Senior Xiao's sudden suggestion gave Xiao Tan false hope because once replaced, he would have no value anymore. Li Qingji listened silently while putting Yin Hui aside. Xiao Tan found it laughable that the song he couldn't perform was sung so amazingly by the other. It was obvious who was more suitable to sing it. He just couldn't accept it and wanted to grasp the last hope. But Li Qingji thought Xiao Tan was wrong, because he would absolutely never be the lead singer. Li Qingji couldn't remember his birth parents' faces anymore, because when he was very young, he and his brother were taken to the orphanage by the director. With many wives and children, the orphanage required kids to help earn money to maintain operations. That day, music came from the elite school on the other side of the wall. It was the first time he heard such moving sounds. So, Li Qingji often crawled through a hole in the wall to listen secretly. And there he met an important person who helped him gradually learn to sing. That was his happiest time during those days, until the orphanage director accidentally heard him singing. While claiming it was for better education, they actually planned to sell him as a plaything to a musician. Hearing this, Xiao Tan asked what happened next. Li Qingji said that on the day he was supposed to be taken away, a big fire broke out at the orphanage, and the deal fell through. But because of that fire, his younger brother almost lost his life. If he hadn't sung, his brother wouldn't have been involved. So sometimes, talent doesn't only bring good fortune. Xiao Tan called out Li Qingji's name sympathetically. He said when he stands to sing in front of people, he only thinks of the pain this voice has brought. But the other thought, if he doesn't become the lead singer, their chances of winning the competition would be smaller. Li Qingji told Xiao Tin not to belittle himself. He was actually indispensable to the band. Yan Hui was hot-tempered and couldn't get along with people, and Senior Xia had a passive personality. It was precisely him who acted as the glue holding the band together. That's how the band could become a real team. Xiao Tan hesitated, thinking he hadn't made any difference. Just then, someone appeared outside the cave. Li Qingji felt it suddenly get colder and heard branches cracking at the cave entrance. Xiao Tan quickly asked who was there. It turned out to be a mountain villager. Someone heard his scream and rushed over. The old lady had worried about them and asked everyone to search for them. They thanked the old lady and admitted their mistake. The villagers decided to take Yan Hui back and told them to gather their things and follow. Before leaving, Li Qingji held Xiao Tan back, hoping he wouldn't tell others about what he'd said. He promised and told him not to worry. At that moment, someone was working when a phone suddenly rang. He answered and asked what happened to Aji, as the phone had been unreachable. He sighed in relief after learning the other wasn't hurt. On the wall behind the computer was a newspaper clipping about the orphanage fire, highlighting that the director had disappeared. The group finally returned to the inn. Senior Xia heard the commotion and immediately stood up. They hadn't expected him to be there. The old lady explained that she had called their emergency contact, but they couldn't come, so Senior Xia came instead. He apologized to them, saying it was his fault for bringing them here. He had only wanted to give everyone confidence, but ended up causing such trouble. Li Qingji and Xiao Tan exchanged glances and began consoling Senior Xia, saying it wasn't just his fault, except that Yan Hui's condition was quite serious. He covered his mouth in fear upon hearing this. Xiao Tan said that through this adventure, he had come to understand some things, and that was the true meaning of divination. Senior Xia showed a puzzled expression at these words. Xiao Tan explained that even seemingly perfect people have troubles that only they can understand. In any case, he needed to work hard, as he was everyone's hope. Yan Hui was standing on the roof feeling the wind. Li Qingji found him and thought he really didn't take care of himself. The top student then threw him a blanket, telling him not to be so careless with his health. He angrily said he wasn't in the mood to talk, but Li Qingji accurately pointed out what was bothering him. Yan Hui thought it was really stupid, wasting so much time. The other side, agreeing it was too foolish. He tossed him a bag of something, as thanks for saving him on the mountain. He opened it to find wild chestnuts, specially saved for him. Li Qingji remarked how beautiful the mountain forest was after the rain, saying they wouldn't have seen such scenery if not for searching for the statue. Yan Hui closed his eyes, feeling the cool post-rain plant scent in the mountain breeze. Li Qingji cracked open a chestnut and asked why he wanted to form a band and enter the competition. He answered that initially it was to prove himself to everyone, fulfill his mother's wish, and upset his father. But after writing Sunset Glow, he kept remembering singing with friends when he was young. Perhaps he wanted to find again that pure joy of enjoying music with companions, and their promise to make the best music together, although it was no longer possible for that person. So Yan Hui thought he could try working hard for both their shares. These words moved Li Qingji deeply. Just then, Xiao Tan called from downstairs for them to pack their luggage. Li Qingji thought it was great they could get a ride, but he wondered to himself what that feeling just now was about. He placed the peeled chestnut in Yan Hui's palm, saying the mountain's gift shouldn't be wasted. He reminded him not to stay too long, as the mountain wind was still cold. Yan Hui stared at the chestnut, thinking for a moment. Then he put it in his mouth and found it very sweet. Xiao Tan was happy they could finally go home, but the old lady asked them to wait. Then in her messy storage room, she looked for her pickled vegetables to give them to take home. Suddenly, Senior Xia let out a surprised cry. He pointed at a statue, and the old lady said it was the deity from Looming Temple. Xiao Tan showed a happy expression. Everyone pressed their hands together, wishing for the dear deity's blessing in their competition. Watching them leave, the old lady wondered why they were praying to a deity of fertility and childbirth. Lin Qin and someone else brought comfort items to the practice room, but they saw them doing stage makeup and costumes. Xiao Tan explained they were trying on performance outfits designed by teacher Xiao. Someone weakly complained, wondering if there were no girls who knew how to dress up. Just as she finished speaking, Senior Xia floated in front of her, startling her. Li Qingji took off his headpiece, admitting they weren't very good at styling. Someone said to leave it to her, as her fashion and beauty blog had 1 million followers. Xiao Tan thought she was really enthusiastic. Lin Qin could see he was already fired up. Someone told the boys to organize the snacks and change clothes in the fitting room. She would take full responsibility for Yu Sheng, approaching Senior Xia with scissors. After a while, Li Qingji changed into his clothes. He felt the outfit was a bit tight. Lin Qin praised that as expected of a handsome guy. "You look good in anything." He asked why Yan Hui and others hadn't changed yet. Just then, the other pulled back the curtain, explaining he rarely wore such formal attire and felt awkward. However, both of them fell silent. He blushed, thinking he looked strange in these clothes. He noticed Li Qingji even looked away. Meanwhile, Senior Xia was breaking out in a cold sweat. His cry for help startled Xiao Tan, who was wiping his face. He rushed in asking if they were okay, but was shocked by the sight before him. Senior Xia's eyes were visible, in a new attire, looking quite stunning. So beautiful that Xiao Tan's nose started bleeding. They raised their glasses in celebration. Xiao Tan mentioned tomorrow was competition day. Lin Qing believed they would be fine tomorrow since they had been practicing so hard. These words excited Xiao Tan. He shouted they would definitely win, but Li Qingji noticed something unusual. He went to the rooftop and asked Yan Hui why he was alone in the wind. The other said he was feeling nervous about tomorrow's competition. Li Qingji said regardless of the outcome, everyone believed in Yan Hui. Despite being so arrogant before, could it be he lacked confidence in his own composition? He replied, "Don't joke around. Sunset Glow will definitely win." They clinked glasses, looking forward to tomorrow. Early the next morning, Li Qingji was awakened by a phone call. He answered, and Yan Hui told him it wasn't time to sleep. He told him to get up and look outside. He opened the curtains and found it dazzling. A sudden heavy snow had fallen overnight, paralyzing indoor roads today. The TV was reporting that due to last night's sudden snowfall, major roads in the city were nearly paralyzed, reminding citizens to be careful. While advising people to avoid going out, Li Qingji was worried about how to get to the competition venue. He suddenly saw something heading this way. Looking carefully, it was a motorcycle. As he thought, the motorcyclist was Yan Hui. He immediately handed him a helmet, saying there was no time to explain. "Get on quickly. Senior Xia is already at the venue. Only you and Xiao Tan live far away." Yan Hui glanced back, then suddenly grabbed Li Qingji's hand, asked if she wanted to fall off sitting so far back, telling her to hold on tight and not let go. Come to think of it, he was lucky. He was the first person to ride on his bike. This gave Li Qingji a bad feeling. At the selection venue, Senior Xia worried why they hadn't arrived yet. They were scheduled to perform second. Just then, Lin Qing and others rushed over, telling him that Yan Hui had already picked up Aji. Teacher Xiao believed they would make it, as he just saw on the news that some roads were clearing up. Senior Xia hoped nothing would go wrong on their way. They had to arrive safely. Meanwhile, Xiao Tan's electric bike ran out of power, with 20 kilometers still to go. He took out his phone to dial, having no choice but to ask Yan Hui for help. At the same time, Li Qingji and the others were waiting at a traffic light. He complained about the speed being too fast. He heard a phone ringing. It seemed to be Yan Hui's phone, but the other threw the phone to him to answer. Li Qingji answered and asked about the situation. Xiao Tan initially thought he dialed wrong, but then realized Yan Hui wouldn't pick someone up. Just as he was about to complain about having nothing there, he saw a taxi slowly approaching. He hung up and asked the driver how much to the Tunghua City Cultural Center. The driver said 300 yuan if in a hurry. He wanted to use the meter, but the driver claimed it was broken. Take it or leave it. Just then, a small truck stopped in front of him. The driver asked if he needed a ride. He thought the truck was overloaded, but the driver offered to take him for just 30 yuan. This tempted Xiao Tan, only 30 yuan. Finally, he got into the truck's passenger seat. Though he was in a hurry, he felt they were going too fast. The driver said it was fine. Nobody would be on the road in this weather. However, before finishing his sentence, they saw an old man shakily walking in the middle of the road. This scene startled Xiao Tan, but it was too late to brake, and the tires were sliding. Finally, the truck flipped over, cargo flying everywhere. Yan Hui and others rushed to the hospital, asking which room Xiao Tan was in. A nurse called from behind them, saying no running or noise in the hospital. However, when he turned around at the sound, the nurse recognized him as young Master Yin and quickly asked if he was feeling unwell. Li Qingji explained why they were there. He pointed to the room behind him, saying, "He's in there." The two looked at the person wrapped like a mummy, wondering how it got so bad. Yan Hui asked him how he ended up like this, if he could move, asking for some response. Just then, someone behind asked how they knew the illegal taxi driver. It was Xiao Tan. He asked why they weren't at the venue. Yan Hui explained they got a call from the hospital on the way and reminded him he'd warned about taking illegal taxis to save money. He tried to stand up, saying he just twisted his foot. The nurse reminded him he couldn't leave today. He needed to stay at least 24 hours. He realized this meant he couldn't compete. The nurse asked which was more important, his life or the competition. Yan Hui fell into deep thought after hearing this. Meanwhile, at the selection venue, Teacher Xiao noticed more audience members were coming in. Many fans came to support their favorite contestants. However, not only did they have no fans, but even the present contestants were about to break down. At this time, staff informed them the competition was about to start, asking them to do final checks. If contestants didn't arrive, it would count as automatic withdrawal. Lin Qin tried to move their performance order back, but was refused. Senior Xia asked charmingly if there really was no hope at all. The staff member felt struck by Cupid's arrow, said they could possibly switch the order. Li Qingji walked into the hospital room with forms, but saw Xiao Tan trembling as he climbed onto the window. He wanted to escape, otherwise he'd miss the competition. The other told him not to be rash. Getting checked was more important now. But he believed nothing was more important than the competition. If they couldn't compete, everything they'd done before would be wasted. The coordination and growth between members, the constant hard practice, and the joy of completing songs together. Wouldn't they feel regret if they just gave up like this? This question stunned Li Qingji. But given Xiao Tan's condition, Yan Hui wouldn't agree to let him go. He thought there was no other way now. Suddenly, he seemed to think of something. Yan Hui was on the phone with Teacher Xiao, saying Xiao Tan probably couldn't make it to the competition. So they decided to give up this competition. Just then, someone took his phone away. He turned around and saw it was Li Qingji. He asked how much time they had left and said they'd hurry over. They wouldn't give up until the last moment. Yan Hui asked if he knew what he was saying. How could they perform without a lead singer? He replied he knew, because he would be the lead singer. The competition began. The host introduced that the program aimed to select talented newcomers and create the next generation of popular stars. Winners would not only sign with a famous agency, but also receive a 600,000 prize. The first competing group was the Donut Girls group. The judges found them cute. A female judge wondered if there would be any surprising contestants this time. At this moment, Yan Hui and others were rushing over. He wanted to know what Li Qingji was thinking when he suddenly offered to be the lead singer, while the other leaned against his back, looking worried. Li Qingji had refused to be the lead singer before. Xiao Tan knew it was asking too much of him, but now it was their only option. No one knew how long their band could last. Even if he couldn't participate, he hoped everyone's efforts would be rewarded. So he entrusted it to him. He hesitated, still wanting to refuse, but after seeing the other's nervous expression, he chose to compromise and agreed to be the lead singer. Before leaving, Xiao Tan called out to Li Qingji. Although he always said his singing brought misfortune, at least at this moment, for their band, it meant hope. Meanwhile, Senior Xia was watching the performance backstage. She felt anxious because they were next. She wondered if it was too late already. At this time, Yan Hui and others finally arrived. They told him to get his instrument ready to perform. He asked why Xiao Tan wasn't here and how they could perform without him. The other replied he'd know soon. However, to their shock, Li Qingji was standing in the lead singer's position. The female judge noticed this band only had 3 people, with the lead singer also playing bass. It seemed interesting, and she looked forward to it. Lin Qin and others hadn't expected the lead singer change either. They never knew he could sing. Li Qingji stood on stage looking at the audience below. He felt everyone was watching him. He took a deep breath trying to calm down, but then he remembered some bad things. The orphanage director seemed to stand before him, praising his beautiful voice, saying he was indeed different from other children. Hearing this, he backed away in fear. The director reached out, saying she would give him everything he wanted. The wealthy musician praised his beautiful voice, like a lovely lark. The orphanage children also mocked him, saying he wasn't like them, he was going to live a good life. Li Qingji felt himself return to childhood. Countless shadows called his name. Countless black hands confined him. He reached out to the person ahead for help, but saw his brother turn around, half his face covered in blood. Thinking of these things, Li Qingji's body trembled uncontrollably. Seeing this situation, the audience started getting impatient. The female judge wondered if he had sudden stage fright. Senior Xia quietly asked what was happening. Yan Hui didn't answer, but looked at the trembling Li Qingji, and he found himself completely unable to make a sound. The band on stage remained motionless. The audience wondered if the singer had forgotten the lyrics. Someone worried about what was wrong with Li Qingji. The staff mentioned this was live broadcast. Any more delay would become an incident. Xiao Tan was also watching the live broadcast on TV, silently cheering for Li Qingji, while he himself felt he couldn't go on. Besides the dazzling flashlights, his mind was blank. He had a feeling of wanting to give up. Senior Xia was very flustered, not knowing what to do next. Seeing this situation, Yan Hui gritted his teeth. He directly started playing their song. The audience thought the performance was finally beginning. Senior Xia realized they had jumped straight to the chorus. Though not knowing what these two were doing, she could only follow along. Yan Hui hoped Li Qingji would definitely hear the music. Since there was no response, they'd play until he could hear it. The audience found them just repeating the music and were exhausted. Some wanted to leave, complaining this was a mess. Even though sweating profusely, Yan Hui wouldn't give up. Senior Xia had the same attitude. Xiao Tan also nervously watched the live broadcast. No matter how many times, as long as it reached Li Qingji, it would be fine. This had happened before. Back then, his friend advised him that singing first requires confidence. Imagine the voice flowing from your body like a stream. Don't hold any thoughts. Just freely enjoy singing. Yan Hui shouted Li Qingji's name. Don't hold any thoughts. Just sing freely what you want to sing. Isn't that enough? He turned back in shock when he heard this. The other person just quietly looked at him, asking if he could finally hear. Li Qingji didn't understand what was happening. Why was the music still playing? Everyone still hadn't given up hope. Were they still persisting? He realized he was no longer alone. He thought, whether anxiety or emotion, he wanted to sing out all these feelings. However, when he started singing, everyone was struck with amazement. Yan Hui turned to look at Li Qingji, thinking it impossible. That familiar singing style and feeling. Yan Hui wanted to know who he really was. Now it was as if time had stopped. A voice that made people almost forget to breathe. A feeling of standing with your soul tightly gripped. People couldn't help but sigh. This person was a born singer. Li Qingji forgot everything, only hearing his soul's voice. Emotions that had been suppressed for too long burst forth. Only music could give his heart joy. He really wanted to keep singing until the world's end, until the soul's end. Li Qingji played the bass energetically. After a while, the performance ended. He was exhausted, panting and sweating. However, the venue was completely silent. He thought he had messed up. Lin Qin and others could no longer contain their excitement, shouting Li Qingji amazing. Bravo! The audience below also cheered for him. Seeing this scene, he finally smiled. Senior Xia couldn't help but praise. Really amazing. But she noticed Yan Hui ahead. Why did he look strange? At this time, the hospital nurse reminded Xiao Tan that his checkup was normal and he could go home. He felt this song truly belonged to Li Qingji. Thinking this, he shed bitter tears. After the competition, someone defended the band. Senior Xia explained that their performance had many issues. Li Qingji felt it was all his fault. He had messed up after all. Lin Qin consoled him, saying although they lost, they got a business card from a famous company. He remembered the female judge giving him her card, telling him not to worry. The competition results weren't everything. He was talented, so she hoped he would consider it carefully. But as soon as the competition ended, Yan Hui disappeared. Li Qingji wondered if he was angry. Meanwhile, he was lying in bed, contemplating the photo in his hand. Was Li Qingji really him? At the same time, their band's performance went viral. The next day, Li Qingji walked through campus. Having been dragged out until midnight last night, his body felt heavy now. Just then, some classmates recognized him as that band's lead singer. People swarmed around him, eager for photos and handshakes. This left him at a loss, wondering what was happening. He quickly ran to a place to hide. Seeing no one had found him, he sighed in relief. Felt like he almost died. Senior Xia suddenly appeared, asking if she was also being chased. She handed her phone over, telling her to look at today's Weibo trends. Li Qingji took the phone, thinking Weibo trends had nothing to do with them. But when she saw the content clearly, she froze. She couldn't hold it steady and dropped the phone. Oh no! At the same time, her phone in her pocket rang. The caller ID showed Rue. Li Qingji answered the call. He explained he was just helping out, never expecting things to turn out like this. Rue expressed his concern, and he gently responded that he understood. But it's okay. People's interest in viral videos only lasts for 3 minutes anyway. Rue asked if he would quit the band now that the competition was over. Li Qingji thought that was true. They probably didn't need him anymore. But why did he feel a bit lost and bitter? The plaza's big screen was playing yesterday's performance footage. People recognized Li Qingji, praising his singing, his looks, and his academic excellence. At this time, an old lady pushing oranges walked by. When he saw the screen's footage, he stopped in his tracks. He reached forward with trembling hands, but accidentally bumped into a pretty girl. She knocked over his oranges and thought he was filthy. Several people were having dinner. Senior Xiao mentioned that since the competition, Yan Hui and Xiao Ten hadn't come to the practice room. Lin Qing didn't know what these people were thinking. It's rare for such a famous company to give them a chance. Someone said it would be better if Teacher Xiao were here, but he went traveling around the world. They felt this was a major crisis for the band. Senior Xiao speculated that they were all probably trying to solve their own problems. They would surely come back someday. Yan Hui checked Li Qingji's resume and found it truly perfect. He wasn't actually born in an orphanage, and the orphanage had issued a death certificate back then. Looking at the TV screen, he felt that Li Qingji's singing sensation was identical. This couldn't be hidden. If they were the same person, then someone must be manipulating things behind the scenes. At Lijing Villa District, a courier came to deliver an urgent document. When he saw the recipient, his voice began to tremble. He thought that person was very scary. Inside, Rui tore open the envelope, thinking he didn't recognize the sender. When the envelope was opened, photos of Li Jingji scattered out. Rui picked up an orphanage photo with trembling hands. Their faces were both blacked out. After seeing this, he was furious, gritting his teeth, then tore the photos to pieces. This made Rui feel uneasy because AG had been found.